Today on DNVR Buffs Live, we have Uncle Neely.
Me.
In studio. Everyone wants to know every day, where's Unc? Where's Unc? Where's Unc? Where's Unc? We got him. Let's go. Let's go.
You
Quad pod.
Oh,
let's
with
go.
Ska.
I like that. That was almost an emergency.
Low key.
Oh my god. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your first Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Quad pod is back.
And Scott can't hide his pockets over there behind the table.
Yep.
Not at all.
Pockets on full display.
They outside today.
I'm counting 6 from where I sit. And they're deep. All 6 of them.
Always deep.
What up, Unc? How you been?
Man, I've been good, man. Mr. Bros, man. Pass
Yes,
that
sir.
down to Scotty.
Squad.
Yeah, Mr. Bros. It's been a good week to be back. Practice has been going good, energy high. Lots of things moving and shaking.
Love it. We'll get into practice. We'll get into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
We'll talk the portal. We'll talk the Heisman Trophy. Actually, shout out Heaven's Demon right there.
Yeah.
That dude sent us
Bro, what a hookup.
unbelievable hookup. Sent us real sriracha, not the
OG, the real stuff.
not whatever's been going around the last year and a half or whatever it is. The real shit.
Yeah.
Legend.
Absolute legend. Thank you, brother.
Brought back like an old strain.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
A discontinued beer.
Yeah. Like a wine that's been lost in the
Yes,
cellar.
yes.
Just like,
That would be
one
like
more bottle.
That would be like having some 2 barbecue sauce.
It's like when like a
I have that.
I do too. It's
I
like
don't
when
know- I
an
don't know
art
what to eat it.
when an artist dies and then all of a sudden they like release an album, the
Right.
unreleased
Yeah.
tapes.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
We got the unreleased sriracha.
It's crazy. An absolute legend for Heaven's Demon for doing that. Unc, you sat down with Coach Prime not too long ago. Was it 2 days ago?
Yeah, that would have been Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, something like that. Yeah.
Just talking, I mean, there was a lot you guys talked about, but kind of talking about, life after Travis and Shador, what's next for this program. Obviously, we still have a bowl game. We'll get into all that too today, but it's very clear that, they are obviously getting ready for this bowl game, but there's a focus on the future and about, building on top of what those guys did here at Colorado.
I think that's well said and well framed. It literally is just that simple. You have 2 of the most prolific players in college football history, not just program history, leaving your program, and you can't replace them. Like, you can't go get another Travis or another Shador, but you can look at, from a production standpoint, how do we get the best quarterback available? And I think we've done that. And shoring up the secondary, through the portal from an experience standpoint, to get you 2 or 3 guys that equal Travis's, more solo impact. And I think that has happened and continue to happen. So one of the things I loved about sitting there talking to Coach was his demeanor. Like, he is unbelievably happy and in a good mood this week. Going, and that happens a lot of times when he goes back home to Texas for a while. So he got back here Sunday, man. He's been bouncing around, smiling, gregarious personality, sense of humor showing through. I tried to play with Scotty Deep Pockets at the presser, but he didn't bite the hook. Scotty was like, he's like, whoa.
Just standing in the pocket, bro. He's a quarterback.
Man. Exactly.
Yeah, so it's going good, and even Coach Prime himself said in that chat that the plan is being executed so well that he's surprised. Like the attention, the players that we're signing, the players that we know have said yes, but they haven't done their strategic announcement yet. There's some good news coming the next days.
Coach, you mentioned in there, I'm talking about Coach Unc, you mentioned in there that, Coach talked about, or not even just you saying that, grabbed arguably the best quarterback available, the transfer portal here recently in Caden Salter.
Yeah.
What are kind of your thoughts on him, being, brought into this, what's going on here in Boulder and that competition that we're all looking forward to between him and Juju?
I love it, and I think it's necessary. You clearly made the big splash getting Juju out of high school to commit here, something they said Coach Prime couldn't do, was, get a high school player, particularly one of that caliber. But you also want to make sure that you got competition in your quarterback room because at the end of the day, that is a true freshman coming in, and whether he becomes the apparent starter week 1, and even if that doesn't happen, having a veteran behind him to help push him, to help guide him, to help answer questions. Because here's what we know. College football ain't high school football.
At all.
And I don't care how good you are at what you do in high school. When you get to that first game in college is different.
Yeah.
You look at Shedeur Sanders in his collegiate career. The first game we go to Miami against FAMU, we win 7-6, and he didn't have a touchdown. Had a couple fumbles. Like, it's college ball. And so you want to make sure you got some depth in the room, some competition in the room. And the QB coming over from Liberty, he checks all those boxes.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of Liberty, maybe, the Diego Pavia ruling came down that he can have extra eligibility and that his JUCO years don't count against his eligibility. Have you heard anything about any players on our roster that might impact?
I haven't heard specifically for us. I've heard excitement in the building about how good this is for college football. I've heard other people in the building going, "Oh man, you're gonna have 26-year-olds tackling 17-year-olds."
Yeah.
And so I've
we
heard
are playing
both
BYU this week, so next week,
Right.
So I've heard both sides of it, but nothing particular to how that's going to change someone's eligibility or not that's with us.
Just with the portal, I mean, Nakai obviously entered the portal, was a massive contributor to this team. How do you think, the team is going to respond to that? Is it just Jay West who steps up? I mean, Trevor entered the portal officially too.
Yeah, I think it's going to, happen as some more of these bowl games end and the CFP ends. There's going to be more people getting in the portal, and I think there's going to be more people looking west to Colorado to come out here and play ball. So I'm optimistic about the linebacker room shoring up. Clearly, we're going to go to Alamo short, if you will, from an experience standpoint, because you're not replacing the law firm overnight.
Right.
He had a big impact this season, and wishing him well. It's not one of those situations where the coaches were, quote unquote, caught off guard by this or surprised. But when you had JB was in the portal for a while, and then he hopped in, you started shuffling some things around. JB came back. And so, we'll have our linebacker crew out there, but some of those younger guys are going to have to play this weekend, next weekend, because the true solution going into the spring and to the fall is not here yet.
Real quick, just on the Juju subject, I don't think we talked about this yesterday because we found out about it officially, I think, after the show. But one of his teammates posted that he played the last 2 games of the season with a broken hand.
I saw that today.
What a dog, man.
And then the reasoning that he did it, not wanting to leave them hanging, like, man, that got some big points in my book.
It's for real. And, it's very easy and would be very easy for Juju to say, hey, y'all, good luck, but I got bigger and better things to move on to. I can't be taking any risks. And it honestly reminds me of what Travis and Shedeur and some of these other guys are doing by playing in the bowl game. It's you have a commitment to your team, you stick to it. Now, Juju had every reason. I mean, there's no, he was already hurt. It wasn't even about you might be able to get hurt. The fact that he went out there, wrapped it up, put a glove on it, and said, "No, I'm going to live or die with my teammates here," to me is incredibly respectable.
Man, well said. I got nothing to add to that but a fist bump because I felt the same way when I saw it. I saw the reason why.
Yeah. He's a warrior. Unc, one of the coolest parts about that, to me, most enlightening parts about that legendary interview you and Coach Prime was when Coach Prime talked about why he often wears sunglasses in public. And because that's a talking point that a lot of people in the outside world like to talk about, the fact that he's wearing sunglasses. But it made a ton of sense. He's he got a big, busy schedule, as one could imagine. Sun up to sun down there, whether it's coaching, recruiting, out there on the road, doing media and stuff and whatnot. And he don't want to look tired when he's in front of a camera. So he puts on, his sunglasses. Can you just get at people just from your perspective, just a look into, his schedule day to day, just from what you said?
It's unbelievable. Nothing on his schedule has a bigger priority than Colorado football.
Right.
So when he's dealing with SMAC or which under that is his Tubi show and all his endorsements, when he's dealing with, coaching and staffing matters, just whatever comes up in the day. Because as he said, that door gets knocked on all day long.
Right.
And it ain't people bringing him something. There was people coming to get something and leave out of the office with something.
Hell yeah.
And I may have mentioned it either when he and I were talking before the camera or even doing an interview. Forgive me if I'm getting it twisted, but I even told him there's times I'm sitting outside his door and I want something, but I feel so damn bad at the number of people that have been knocking that I don't want to add to it. You know, because I know the days that he's tired or because you go in his office, he may not have his glasses on, and you can see like, okay, he's wearing thin right now, but he is unbelievably busy. Which, as he said in the interview, you know, he's blessed and thankful for it. Wouldn't have it any other way. But that's why you have, you know, coordinators and other staff members like Reggie Calhoun, who's director of operations, Coach David Kelly, general manager, kind of take some of that stuff off his plate. Because Calhoun would walk in the office, even for the bowl game, while we were sitting there talking, and said, hey, the schedule is like 99% done, just need you to look at it, sign off on it. And Coach Prime will make some changes. But he's not the kind of guy you want to walk in there with a blank piece of paper and say, hey, let's figure out the schedule together.
Right.
He's like, dude, like all this I got going. So, man, it's unbelievable the amount of weight that's on his shoulders schedule-wise, but somehow between about 4:30 in the morning and 6:30 p.m., he gets it done.
It's honestly inspiring because it's like so often it's easy to have the excuse of like, it's just not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
And it's like people like that just find more hours in the day.
Yeah.
They wake up earlier. They take a shorter lunch.
I was about to say, that is, you've seen where Mark Zuckerberg wears the same clothes every day. Not the same clothes, but the, you know.
Same thing with, what was the Apple guy, Steve Jobs?
Yeah. Coach Prime, I think people don't recognize how much he sleeps in the building.
Yeah.
And the reason is that commute time.
Yeah.
I'm here now. Like when I wake up, take a shower, get dressed, I'm already here. When it's time to go to bed and I take a shower, go to bed, I'm here.
You can spend that time sleeping instead of driving.
Yeah, so that's what he does it for. It's like, no, when y'all leave, I go to bed.
Yeah.
You know, and the night of that, the evening of that interview, he slept at the office because he wanted to be there bright and early. No one's going to ever beat him in. Even when he doesn't sleep there, you don't beat him. But he's still one of the first people in the morning, one of the last people to leave. And that's, 6 out of 7 days a week.
Well, I mean, this just seems like a super unique time for him because, I mean, he's got all these, media obligations, obviously. He's coaching a football team. You're getting ready for a bowl game. You just signed a recruiting class.
Yeah.
And now the portal is open. And that's just like the stuff I know of. You know what I mean? Like,
and that was the coolest part to me, just from that conversation where he was like, I don't want to shortchange anybody. Like, whether you're talking to a recruit or a parent or, again, the media, like, you don't want anybody to get the tired version of you.
No.
And that's just fascinating. And, he's
he's dead serious about it. Like, I know the two of you have been up there and seen how his office is connected to the recruiting lounge.
Right.
And so, the guests will go around the long way and already be sitting in there. And, he'll get himself together when he comes through that door. He's the best Deion Sanders you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he might have to turn it right back off and then leave and lay across the couch and catch us, 10 minutes now before the next parents come in. But everybody gets the best version of him that he has available because he thinks they deserve that.
When it was, I thought it was cool when we interviewed him at the hotel down the street. When he came in, he was like, fellas, I'm really tired. Like, I need y'all to bring the energy a little bit and bring me along with you, and I'll match what you guys bring. And I was just like, man, he's, first of all, trust us enough to tell us that.
Right.
But second of all, like, just for someone who does that much, like, you want to, like you guys said, you want to kind of like deliver. You don't want to shortchange anyone, and I respect that a lot.
Yeah, he's doing one of his autograph things on Saturday. And, I love watching him do it because he'll put the headphones on, get his playlist, and it's just like robotic. And the room is like full of stuff. Helmets, jerseys, balls. I don't know how he does it. Like, he would just get into the zone. And even in that process, like, he'll tell you, hey, go get the first ball. And he'll see where he is now. Like, he's 300 signatures later, and he wants that 300 to look like the first.
Yeah.
And he wants the 500 to look like the first. Because whoever is buying that ball, they deserve his best signature. And he just sits there and locks in like that. And he does that with every single detail.
It's a Hall of Fame mindset.
Yeah.
How you do anything is how you do everything, is how the saying goes.
Really quick.
Okay.
You guys talked in, well, actually, no. Coach Prime today told Rich Eisen that they will not be going to Green Bay for the draft, which is funny because I just got done yesterday saying we're not going to Green Bay for the draft either. Do you have any idea what kind of the plans are for a draft party or whatever you want to call it?
The details are being fleshed out, but it'll be here. It'll be here, and when I say here, Boulder.
Yeah. Not the DNVR bar.
Like
so we can make it open.
Upstairs studio. Hey, well, let's run that up the flagpole. They might say yes to it. But yeah, that's been a discussion, in the works, and it was one of those things where it makes all the sense in the world, right? With the number of players we have, particularly first two, but then you also want to be sensitive to someone's quote unquote moment of walking across that stage.
Yeah.
Now this is me saying this, not Coach Prime. Let me say again, because stuff gets chopped up. This is me saying this, not Coach Prime. You may not have that issue if the draft was like in New York or Vegas or Miami.
That's exactly what I thought.
The draft being in Lambeau Field, like you get the luxury of saying, I think we'll do it inside at home somewhere.
I'm sorry. I have to guess this would be the lowest attended green room at the draft ever.
Probably.
Who wants to go to Green Bay, Wisconsin in April?
It's still cold there, man.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's cold. Like, there's not a lot to do.
No, there's not anything to do.
Yeah.
Anything.
You're at the one place that's worth going to out
Whose
there.
idea was this? Who thought of that?
Roger Goodell.
Not to
Come
mention
on,
the
bro.
fact that Lambeau Field is like in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just so odd.
So I think it ended up being a relatively easy call to make to have a draft event here.
Cool.
And I say this about even Pro Day. The Big 12 has done like some Pro Day stuff, in Dallas at Cowboy Stadium. I wouldn't be surprised if that takes place here.
Yeah.
Because the draw, the magnetism, the gravitational pull is with our guys and our players.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And so the Colorado Buffaloes Pro Day will ultimately be bigger than the Conference Pro Day.
Oh, it's going to be. That's one of my most anticipated days.
Yeah. And so when Coach was at Jackson State, the same thing happened. And so what he did, so the other schools would still get their chance, because this is all about the guys going pro, getting people to the next level.
Right.
He invited every school in the state and even outskirts in Louisiana, just come to ours. Bring your players to ours.
Right.
Instead of having scouts, instead of you putting on your pro day in front of one person because everybody's at ours, just come here.
Well, and we got to take a break, but didn't he do that like his first off season here? He had like a camp in Atlanta or something.
Yeah.
And invited a bunch of like HBCU head coaches out there.
Atlanta did it in Houston as well.
Yep. All right, let's take our first break. Man, I love RK's Toyota. Super reliable, smooth ride.
It smells good.
We can pack the whole crew in there. We get there safely. But seriously, Toyota's awesome. They got all kinds of different vehicles to suit whatever your needs are. Hybrids, sports cars, family cars, whatever you may be looking for. And they're super reliable. Probably the most reliable cars on the road. You just never see them broken down on the side. They last forever. I had a buddy who had a Camry. I think his parents had it before. He had it until after I left for college, basically. So those things are just keep going and going. And you can visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Carwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Gosh, I wish I could remember who it was, but I saw some NFL quarterback today bought his entire offensive line Toyota Tundras.
Oh, was it Purdy?
Yeah,
Purdy
it was
did.
Purdy.
Brock Purdy did.
Purdy gets it, man.
He does. I think he watches the show and saw that.
I bet.
He said, that's the perfect gift.
I bet.
Thanks.
I bet. Also, shout out to Elevations Credit Union, home of the sexiest credit card in human history. It's the Go Buffs Visa Signature Rewards Card, and you're only seeing one of two options on your screen. That is the gold with the black buffalo. I prefer the black with the gold buffalo, but all of it is the best credit card you can get, at least when it comes to aesthetics. And it also helps out your Colorado Buffaloes every single time you swipe. So visit buffscreditcard.com to apply and see full benefits and details, and not just benefits for you, but benefits for the Buffs. What a beautiful thing.
I love that inverse card because I prefer my zebras black with white stripes.
Dang.
Just blew RK's mind.
Now, those are the kind of things that come to mind when Jake gives me his edibles,
We're sharing the love.
Shout out Live Well.
Live well for L.
That reverse zebra is crazy.
Okay. How have practices been with the bowl game? I know some guys have showed up. Julian, I think, touches down today. Yeah. Some of the transfers have signed. I don't know if they're allowed to actually practice with the team or not, but just what's the vibe been like, literally like last 2 weeks for this team?
It's been peaking at the right time. I will say that, as we could imagine, no one's going to be surprised by this, Monday was a little lackluster, because everybody is like back together for the first time. Because a lot of folks were here, doing strength and conditioning treatment, but there was a lot of people away at home too. So that getting back on Sunday and Monday was, kind of kumbaya and, getting to hang out with Trav and the trophy. Tuesday it started to turn up, and Wednesday, Thursday as well. I thought today's practice was the best one of the week, because it was the first practice after the scouting report for BYU. So this one was like BYU game specific. We'll practice. We're off tomorrow, off Saturday, practice Sunday, and then the rest of the practices will be, in San Antonio.
Yeah.
So some of the players who were coming in were there for the team meeting, but they did not participate in practice. Now, whether that's a rule or something, that's out my bandwidth of knowledge. But they were actually 3 or 4 showed up this morning. We're in the team meeting.
What a beautiful advantage. And one of the things that when you've been out of bowl games as long as we have, you just don't know about until you see it firsthand. I mean, not only whether these guys get to practice or not is honestly secondary to me because it's so little time anyway.
Right.
But being able to watch, I mean, imagine if you were going to start a new job and before you had to start it, you got to go watch everyone do their thing for a week. And then you got to like digest that, take it in, and then, a few weeks or months later, go back and do it. Like, I just feel like these guys are getting a firsthand look at the standard, and what a huge advantage is that for them to come in and be successful and to be able to pass it on to their classmates, literally in their class, what that standard is and how they can live up to it.
You nailed it, man. Y'all should listen to this guy more. He not only knows ball, he knows organizational leadership. The 4 guys that were there today got to see a team meeting. They got to see a team meeting that's posted at 7:15, but starts at about 7:05. And they got to understand you got to be there early to be on time. And Coach Prime did an excellent presentation on the example. He talked about, and you'll see this on Well Off, Reach the People, or the pregame show. It'll be in my weekly recap. Coach Prime talked about how in his family he was the example. Like, his mom or stepdad would say, hey, y'all do what he does. So he pointed out some guys in the room that he felt were examples by position group. And then he flipped it and said, hey, all the people with siblings in here stand up. So, we got quite a few people who have blood brothers in the room. And he said, you can look right here. Like, who's the example out of these guys? You can see that the receiver Wester is the example of the Westers, not the linebacker. And this is no shade to anybody, And the same thing with Chidozie and his little brother. Chidozie is the example.
Yeah.
And then Shiloh and Shador were still standing, and he went like, I think y'all know who's the example. He said sometimes it's not the oldest one, it's just the example. Shiloh's right behind me. He's like, hey, no, that's not right. But everybody knows. No, Shador's typically here before you.
There's only one of them named Grown.
Yeah, he's the example. And
Another one's named Headache.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great point. And so then he asked those guys, do they see that, the new guys? And then he went further. One guy is a safety, and he's like, hey, which one of you safeties is going to be the example for him? Which one of you D linemen is going to be the example for him? Which one of you linebackers is going to be the example for him? Because they have to learn how we do it. And so that speaks to what you're saying. What a head start over the people who get here in the spring or the people who can get here in the summer, that you've gone through that orientation already. So whether you practice with the scout team this weekend or in San Antonio or not, just being there, you got upper hand.
I just love that guys like Antonio Branch is going to get an opportunity to spend time around Cameron Suman-Craig.
Yes.
Yep.
That Mantrez Walker is going to get time to spend around Levante Bentley.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That Alexander McPherson is going to get time to spend around BJ Green, for example. Because those 3 guys would be out of here, with their eligibility all used up. And I just think about these freshmen on this team, this 2024 squad, they were able to make an immediate impact in large part because they were here early as early enrollees, and they were able to go through the winter workouts, go through a spring, go through a full fall camp where they're already kind of acclimated to the college game and, like to RK's point, the standard of CU football. And then just all those guys, again, being able to see how Travis Hunter operates day in and day out throughout a week of practice. Like, that stuff is invaluable. That's stuff that those guys are never going to forget. And it's just perfect.
And just seeing that a Heisman Trophy winner is a real guy.
Yeah.
Like, you see him dancing and smiling.
It's tangible.
He's sitting down from you. It's like this is my reality now. And, man, just simple stuff like knowing your way around the building, knowing where the cavity, knowing where the bathroom is, you know, versus getting here in January and just be lost. Like, those guys who get here in December really have an advantage.
Yep. What's crazy is they used to be everyone got there in the fall.
And it's crazy to think about now.
Yes.
Like, you go through your whole senior year, like you graduate in whatever, May, June or whatever.
Yeah.
And you got 2 months to the season starts.
Yeah.
I know.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's become so much more common for guys to be early enrollees.
Absolutely.
And now they're early. The early enrollees are showing up early.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
Point.
I mean,
By the way, Alexander McPherson, when you saw him in person, does he not look like he's like the main character of a football movie?
He does. And, you know, I thought about you guys when I saw the new guys, because now this is the second group to arrive that when people start watching these videos, you're not going to hear what you heard first year. Man, they look small. There is no more looking small in this room. You know, you got a guy or two that's small, but you remember that first year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, they looked like a Pee Wee League team. You know, it was majority small. Now when people get off the bus, like, the bus moves because it went up because the bus got lighter. We got some big boys, and that's it. You know, you look at the Carter Stottmeyer, you know, playing corner and safety. Look how big he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, dude is linebacker built and with speed. So when you talk about the new folks, they fit that mold, man. They look gigantic. Transfers from Alabama standing next to Sapp was like me standing next to Jake. You know, it's just like, damn, the contrast. You know?
Right.
And anybody can make Warren Sapp look small is a big human being.
For real. We're bouncing all over the place today. This is a pinball show.
Love it.
I'm going back to the draft because I wanted to earlier, but then we had to take a break. I saw a report that came out today, and I get so many clickbait notifications on my phone. I literally haven't opened it, so I was able to just find it in my notifications. It says, Shedeur Sanders will need to, quote, nail interview process to overtake Miami QB Cam Ward in draft. Well, guess what? He's going to nail the interview process.
Like,
and that's no shade at Cam.
At all.
Because we all love Cam. But that's said as if it's like some sort of like Hail Mary, like, he's going to have to pull off something crazy in the interview process if he wants to be number one. Wait, the interview process might be Shedeur's number one most valuable aspect of the entire pre-draft process, because there's, you know, all of us sitting here have kind of the pleasure of actually knowing the real Shedeur. All the NFL GMs and scouts and those people, you know, haven't gotten that opportunity to get to know him the way that we have. And when you get to know him, it doesn't take long to realize that all of the bullshit that circulates on, you know, the internet is not Shedeur Sanders.
Right.
And just wait until he gets to sit down with them. One, show who he is, show his work ethic, and then number one, more than anything else, show his work on the board.
Yeah.
The second that you start talking football with that man, you're going to see stories coming out of, oh my God, you know, it was most impressive board work they've ever seen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, I bet you whoever does end up drafting him, I've seen a couple teams do this. Maybe, you know, each team is different in how private they are about this stuff, but you'll end up like seeing it released. The video of Shedeur getting on the board and just going crazy.
Particularly from the team that drafts him.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is I don't even think that's really going to matter because he's going to, on talent alone, he's going to go near the top.
Yep.
So
the travesty for the GMs and player personnel folks, most of y'all are not going to get to interview him because there's pointless for him to talk to anybody who's picking 6 or later.
Right.
Having said that, I would say, and I'm not talking about skill set here. I'm going right back to your original tweet about the interview. I would say outside of Johnny Manziel, that this is probably the most look forward to interview that GMs and personnel people have. Because this guy, to be in Shedeur Sanders, is literally a celebrity who plays quarterback. He's not a celebrity because he plays quarterback. He's like Coach Prime.
Yeah.
Coach Prime is a celebrity that coaches college football. He's not a college football coach that became a celebrity.
Right.
And so there are scores of people who are sitting there like, damn, I can't wait to meet him. Can't wait to talk to him. Can't wait to ask him something. You know, and most of them will not get that chance because he's going to be able to say, just like his dad did the combine, no need to be going to that room. I'll be gone way before y'all pick.
Yeah.
But he has that kind of charisma. And to that tweet directly, if someone is saying the only way he's going to propel to number one is an interview, you just propelled him to number one. He's going to knock out the interview.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I feel like part of the reason we got to take a break, just real quickly, I feel like part of the reason that's going to be, to your point, one of the most sought after kind of interviews aside, next to Johnny Manziel, is because he's so, like his father, so misunderstood.
Yep.
So much bullshit has been put out there over this season, the last 2 seasons, the last 3 seasons. And I feel like there are a lot of GMs, if they get the opportunity, they're going to want to find out if all that bullshit is real. And they're going to quickly find out that it's not. And he's really just as good of a player as he is a person.
And so much of the stuff that people have tried to use against him, football people do not care about. Like, not shaking Braden Fowler, Nicolosi. Like,
No.
a GM walked out and was like, fuck yeah. Like, I like that. I want that on my team. And, the media can portray it however they want. And, with Baker, it was moxie. With Shedeur, it's character concerns. But
spot on.
Real football people who are about winning,
love it.
Love it.
They see it as competitive fire.
Yes, exactly.
Like a necessary thing that you need to be a high-level quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
Especially today.
Facts. All right, let's take our next break. Shout out to the homies over at Game Time.
I love Game Time.
Game time?
Me too, man.
Me too.
Whatever sport it is, everything's in full swing right now. CFP starts tonight. We'll talk about that here in a second. But NFL's coming down to the wire, NHL, NBA, concerts, events, whatever's going on in your city. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the promo code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off your first purchase. You can check out their Game Time Picks feature, see all the best deals in the stadium, see the view from your seats. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
You know what time it also is?
What's
Time
that?
to chill.
Time to chill with the Kurz lot. It's Friday. Wow, this week went by really fast.
Didn't it?
But it is Friday, which means it's Kurz lot time. As soon as we finish here, we might be able to go downstairs, have ourselves a little Kurz lot. But wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you're looking to chill this weekend, there's no better beer to do it with than a Kurz lot. So make the most of the times you choose to chill. Choose Kurz lot. And get Kurz Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to kurzlight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Kurz Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Unc, what did it mean to you to watch Travis win the Heisman Trophy and just all that work, all the sacrifices, all the struggles he's been through the last 3 years paid off?
Man, so many emotions. Can I say this before I answer that?
Yeah.
So, and I told you this, we talked on the phone. So happy that you guys got to be there as like traditional Buff fans. Like I'm a new Colorado fan. I've been a Travis Hunter fan. So the emotion y'all got from seeing it both ways, Travis and your school, it's the same thing. But like I was happy that y'all were there happy, because it ain't the kind of thing that happens a lot.
Not at all.
No. It's not like you're going to say, oh, well, we'll do this again next year. Like you don't know that. But to directly answer your question, man, having conversations with Travis and his mom when they came to Jackson State and visited during that homecoming game, to then having conversations with them when he played in his first spring game at Jackson State. The low points, like say, for instance, the FAMU game that he really wanted to play in and couldn't because his ankle was bothering him so bad, up all night, in the hotel just in pain. All the sweat equity, all the work that was being put in for it to culminate with transferring here and 2 seasons later winning a Heisman Trophy. And I dare say, you take away that hit against Colorado State, he's on the front row 2 years in a row.
No, absolutely. Yep, 100%.
And very easily could be with Archie Griffin, and the only guy that won 2 of them. What happened, so we're just here with the one opportunity. He got that. But I just couldn't be proud of it, man. Got to talk to him the other day and take a picture with the trophy. Today he signed my Jackson State Sports Illustrated with him and Shador and Coach on the cover.
Yeah.
So then I was like, no, I got to go to the other 2 to sign it too. But Travis like signed all the way across the whole thing. Like, dude, you John Hancocked it. Like, you put the biggest damn signature on here, man. Leave space for the other guys. Absolutely. But I just couldn't be happier for him, man. It literally couldn't happen for a better person. We all know he's the best football player in college football. Mm-hmm. But outside of Charlie Offerdahl, I would say he's the best human being in college football.
Love that.
I was just gonna. Coach Prime was asked this week, obviously you were there in the room, about when he first knew that Travis Hunter was going to be a future Heisman winner. And Coach Prime obviously says, shoot, that first practice, when I see that boy line up at receiver, go on the other side and lock stuff down at DB. What was kind of that first moment for you?
I was there for that moment and agree with him.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. When Travis was primed, no pun intended, to do the hat switch at his high school.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to that with Pretty Tony and got tied up and couldn't make it. So I didn't get to see his sports prowess until he got there and was actually playing. And just like Coach Prime, to see him go from working out with the offense and literally no break, just jog to the other end of the field and immediately be dominant on the other side of the field. And it's 98 degrees in Jackson, Mississippi. You know, and it's 2 p.m. Man. You know, it's like this is just unbelievable. But I'll tell you the time that it was just absolutely confirmed for me that he could do it in the Power 5. We were on the lower fields.
If you're about to say with the moment that I have in my head, it's going to blow my mind.
It was someone, let's say he was playing receiver, and someone was talking sugar, honey, iced tea, and Coach Prime stopped practice and said, Travis, go over there. And the first damn play, he shut him down.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
I was like, yeah, he's going to do it here too.
Yeah, bro.
Like this absolutely translates.
I think it was during spring practice.
It was during spring.
So first spring, and Travis was only working at receiver during that spring, if you remember, because Coach Prime said he could roll out of bed and play corner.
Yeah.
We're trying to teach him how to really play receiver. And, I mean, we hadn't seen him take a rep at defensive back.
Not one.
And
he hadn't even been in the meeting room with the DBs.
And you like you said, someone was talking, but also I think someone was messing up.
Yeah.
And he said, Travis, go show them, please. Show them the technique. Show them how to do this. I think it was like defending a slant or a dig, and just broke it up immediately. And he's like, thank you. That's all we needed to see. Go back to offense.
Hasn't taken a rep on this side of the ball all year.
Yes. And right then I was like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, it's going to definitely translate.
That's nuts.
Like, he's that dude.
Yep.
Talking about just like what it meant to people, and I don't, obviously I only know one fan base the way that I know Colorado, but I don't know how many fan bases like shed tears when their guy wins the Heisman.
Right.
I feel like this Heisman, and the combination of the people who have been along the journey with him ever since he came to Jackson, and the people who have been along the journey of being a Colorado football fan ever since whenever you decided to come along. Combination of those two things culminating in Travis winning the Heisman was like a very emotional thing that people cared about in like a very special way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you could somehow control your emotions with the setup you just gave it, his speech then took it over the top.
Absolutely.
That's where I was going to go. I'm sorry, I didn't have to cut you off.
Because one of the things I shared with Coach Prime in our talk was what I have enjoyed about this whole Heisman process. And you guys know, I mean, we've been together 2 years now, and there have been times we wanted to talk to Travis, and I've been like, man, like he just doesn't do interviews like that,
Right.
You get him when you can. One of the things I loved about this Heisman process, culminating with this speech, is the world got to know the Travis that I know.
Yep.
Because that's exactly who he is in the building, or in the cafeteria, or on the sidelines of practice. And so because of the Heisman push and him wanting the Heisman, we were able to say to him, like, hey, well, if this is something you want, you got to do media now.
Yeah.
And developing his own podcast, doing interviews, doing shows, national shows, again, culminating with that speech. all the votes were turned in by the speech. But if somehow if the speech would have been 2 weeks before the votes, that shit would have been much bigger margin.
Yeah.
Because there were some people who didn't vote for him. They were like, damn, I messed up. I messed up. I should have voted for him.
That speech was legendary. And the fact that he didn't even practice it, he didn't write it down, that all that just came straight off the dome makes it even more legendary. And when you were just talking RK, it just made me think about our guy Will, when he was telling us, after all the emotions that night, he's sitting outside rewatching the speech on Twitter, and he's got tears coming from his eyes. And it's like, if you listen to Will or RK, any Buff fan who is on the same level as, how passionate they are about this fan base, you just listen to them talk. They really care about this program, and obviously about Travis Hunter and what he was able to accomplish. And that's just really one-on-one stuff. Like you said, I don't know if there are many other fan bases who really are into it like Buff Nation is.
Yeah. And I don't know that to be the case either, and I would imagine it is not. But I think on that particular night, tied with or just slightly over Jackson State's fan base, because if you follow that fan base on social media, was very excited about the win. And then I think his speech just won a lot of people over.
Yeah.
And seeing the story with his mom being a young mom and what she had to go through. And then the next day, when you got to see his dad's reaction, it started all the emotions started back over. And I just say again, man, like we all know for a fact he's the best player in college football this year. But I'm telling you, what you heard in that speech also shows you he's just the best human being in college football.
Facts.
And I want to tie a bow on something I said on the celebration show after it happened, about how many schools have 2 Heisman winners and a national championship. Finally had time today to go and do the research myself and dig into it. Colorado and 17 other schools have 2 Heisman winners and a national championship. I'll list them off quickly. USC, Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama, Michigan, Florida, Florida State, Auburn, LSU, Texas, Texas A&M, Miami, Army, Nebraska, and Yale.
It's damn near blue blood territory.
That's a great neighborhood to live in.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And that's what I was saying that night about why one of the many reasons why it meant so much to me is like you can now never say that Colorado was just a flash in the pan in the 90s.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, having 2 Heisman winners in 2 completely different eras and decades in parts of college football, along with a national championship, means that like you have sustained, you have done this. And there's a couple schools on this list I almost decided to do like after 1950. Because Yale has 18 national
Army.
Championships, most of them in the 1800s. But in the end, like you said, Jake, that's the blue bloods of college football right there on that list. And it's pretty special that Colorado's now on that.
And let me tell you guys this, as a Jackson State fan, just as much as you are a CU fan, and a Jackson State alum and supporter, and still supporting. I was so happy. Like with Shador and his Unitas Award, Travis and his Heisman, and his long list of other awards that should include the Thorpe, here's the reality, man. As much as we loved every minute of what they were accomplishing in the SWAC and at Jackson State, Shador would not be the number 1 pick overall if he stayed at Jackson State.
Facts.
Travis Hunter does not get the Heisman or any of those other trophies if he stays at Jackson State. And sometimes when you love somebody, you got to let them go so they can be the best they can be.
Yep.
No matter how much it hurts you in that process, the best thing for them was that they moved up. And if you didn't believe that two and a half years ago, you got to believe it now.
Absolutely. And I mean, people didn't believe that Shador could do it until they saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And as silly and stupid as that is, given the fact that he was rated, right up there with a lot of the guys who went into Power 5.
Yep.
And everyone knew the reason why he went to Jackson State. They still wanted to discredit him and say that he wasn't going to be able to do it at the Power 5 until he went and did it.
Yeah. And we knew he could do it, and that's why it's like, hey, we got to go.
Yeah.
We got to go. There is still some institutional, organizational racism that exists in America where there's certain neighborhoods, certain states, certain towns, whatever you chalk it up as, that doesn't get the opportunity that other people get, no matter how deserving ever they are. And the talent that Travis Hunter is here, he was there. But he wasn't winning the Heisman from Jackson State.
Yep.
The talent that Shador Sanders is here, he was there. But he wasn't winning the Johnny Unitas from Jackson State. And they showed the world that, hey, man, this talent exists everywhere.
Yep.
You know, you just think about there's a guy, I'll just say FAMU, who shut down Travis on a couple of routes during the game. He's got to be happy Travis won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Because he gets to go pull that film and say, look what I did to the nation's best athlete that year.
Right.
There's a guy at Alcorn that picked off Shedeur Sanders, and he gets to say, yeah, that's the Unitas Award winner, but look what I did to him. That talent of football exists at every level. It's just harder to break through, man, because of history.
Well, and Coach Prime, you know, especially when he was at Jackson, talked a lot about how there was a lack of NFL, you know, scouts, a lack of players who balled out at HBCUs getting drafted.
Yep.
And I think there's a lack of players from HBCU getting looks from Power Fives out of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
You know, Shedeur and Travis is a very unique situation. Camsell McCraig isn't.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that, he didn't have offers. And I forget where it was, but his only offer got pulled last minute.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to Jackson State. That dude balled out there. And again, everyone said, he's too small. He's not going to be able to do this to the Power Five. Came to the Power Five and balled out. That should be an example for people to look at and say, ballers are ballers.
Yeah.
Wherever they are playing, we don't need to question whether they can do it here, there, or somewhere else. If they're a dog and they play like it, give them an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think you're going to, of course, there's not going to be just an instant flip around, but the ship is going to start to turn, and I think it's going to turn because of the success that Cameron Silman Craig and a JB has and the Tyler Brown has, not necessarily just the Shedeurs and the Travises, who are these kind of outliers on the extreme side of their ability, but you look at the other impact on the team in Colorado, who were just guys in the SWAC. And they are big guys, you know, in the Pac-12 or now the Big 12, sorry. So I think that door is going to open more. Now, what's also going to impact it the opposite way is this JUCO ruling.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you play HBCU or SWAC, those 2 years are going to count. You go JUCO first, those 2 years are not going to count. So you're going to see a lot of talent when this ruling holds up and is affirmed, which it is now. You're going to see a lot of talent go to JUCO first.
Doesn't that also somewhat open the door, though, for someone to try and say, okay, well, then FCS shouldn't count against my FBS eligibility?
All it's going to take is somebody suing.
Yeah, exactly. And they just lay down and lose every lawsuit.
That's all it's going to take is somebody losing. This whole NIL collective space we're in is because of the O'Bannon boys at UCLA. Like this, all it takes is a lawsuit, somebody losing. I've always maintained, even before we were calling it NIL, that a college student playing sports should have the same rights as a college student majoring in accounting. You should be able to transfer. You should be able to do the hell you want to do. You're a college student. But athletes get held to a different level of rules than a typical student does. And I think the more people litigate that, freedom is going to be more and more.
Yep.
Freedom ain't free, though.
At all.
All right, let's make our CFP picks and we'll get to questions.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Starts tonight.
It does.
Did you guys see the scenes out there in South Bend?
Yeah.
Snowy. Look,
Very Midwest.
Epic.
what they need to see is the scenes here in Boulder, in Denver. It is like right at 60 degrees and not a cloud in the sky.
Today is not
perfect.
a winter day out here.
No, tomorrow won't be either. Like it is beautiful outside.
I do love the fact, though, that like the college football playoff is going to show you such a wide span of football in America.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get multiple snow games.
Yeah.
You're going to get dome games in the South. You're going to get, you know, it's just, it's a really cool the way that regionally it kind of shook out.
Tonight, Indiana travels to South Bend to take on Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish are 7-point favorites. Who you guys got?
Fighting Irish.
Really? I'm
Give me-
taking Indiana.
Give me Indiana straight up.
All right, go
I
ahead.
think I might do the same.
I like the Hoosiers as well.
Ooh. Okay.
These two teams are kind of identical in that they beat the hell out of some teams. Their stumbles don't look great, but when they are on, they roll teams by 20, 30 points, and they've done it consistently all year. So
I just like the home environment, a touchdown to Jesus, and I'm going for the black coach. Sorry, not sorry.
fair enough.
Quote me.
Apparently there's rumors that they're rolling out black and gold uniforms tonight.
For who?
Notre Dame.
Black.
Wow.
Yes.
I can't even really
That's
imagine
crazy.
that.
Those are the rumors.
SMU,
I'll be kind of mad if they roll out in black and gold.
SMU traveling to Beaver Stadium to take on Penn State. SMU close loss in that ACC title game to Clemson. Penn State kind of hung in there against Oregon. Where are you guys at? The line is Penn State -9.
I'm going to take Penn State here. I think that SMU is actually really, really talented and has some awesome electric players. I also think they had a little bit of the Cinderella effect going, and I think that ran out against Clemson, allowing that comeback to happen. And so, or no, they came back in that game, didn't they? And then weren't able to pull it off. Either way, losing the game, I feel like kind of wore off the Cinderella effect. I think it's going to be hard for them to go into Penn State and get a win.
Yeah, I'm the same with you. I think SMU has loads of talent on both sides of the ball and each level of it. I don't know if they have the experience and moxie that it takes to go win in Happy Valley yet. I think they may be a year away from something like that. I got to go with Penn State because it's at home.
Yeah, the home crowd is going to be nuts. And Penn State quarterback Drew Aller, low-key showed me something in that Big Ten championship game against Oregon that I didn't really think he had in him.
Yeah.
So if he continues to play like that with Penn State's pass rushers that they got on defense, I like the Nittany Lions at home.
I'm taking SMU.
Ooh.
I like this team. They've impressed me a lot this season. I've been impressed with how they stood up to teams in the trenches, and this might be their toughest test of the season against Penn State and Abdul Carter. But Jennings, I like the quarterback at SMU more than I like Drew Aller. And these guys, the running back, Brashard, you remember his name?
Nope.
Brashard something, and then they have weapons at wide receiver.
Yeah, they do.
SMU is underrated.
I will tell you guys this about SMU. College football now in the next 10 years is going to be much like politics. The person who spends the most money is going to be in there.
Yeah.
And what they're able to do fundraising-wise at SMU, whether they win or lose this game, they will be in the top 12 for years to come.
Absolutely. And it won't get them in trouble anymore like it used to.
No, not at all. They're like, man, we've been doing this. You mean it's legal now?
Clemson traveling to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns. Quinn Ewers, man, super up and down. I mean, I don't know. We might get Arch, but Cade Klubnik not really had the best season, but he's turned it on lately too. Texas -12.
Yeah, I thought I had a hot take where I was going to say I think this is the most lopsided matchup, and then I saw the lines and I was like, oh, I guess everyone agrees with me.
Yeah.
I think I might like Texas to win the whole thing.
Welcome.
I definitely like them to beat Clemson.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't have them in the finals and think they're going to lose this game.
Yeah. I got Texas big, 2 scores.
At least.
I'm taking Clemson, bro.
Ooh, oh, man.
I think
Jake,
they've got.
I'm loving the balls on Jake. Balls.
I think they have the better quarterback.
Yeah.
I really
They
do.
might, but I don't think that's enough.
This is Clemson we're talking about. This is a team that has championship pedigree, who's recruited at the top of the nation the last 10 years. This isn't some pushover team.
They're not a pushover, but they're not as talented as Texas.
Texas is like a legit SEC power now.
Yeah.
And Clemson is still Clemson in my eyes.
Man, I'm all
That's
for
crazy.
anarchy. You don't know how much I hope you're right on your 2 picks.
I love all the dogs. Speaking of,
I don't know what's going to happen like if we get some big upsets because everyone's just been operating off a spreadsheet and this is all a waste of time and all of the home faves are going to win. So I am, and I don't know if I do have one upset in my picks. But I think the sport kind of needs it, and in the spirit of the 12-team playoff kind of needs something big to happen this weekend.
It'll be at least one.
Yep.
next one, Tennessee traveling to the Shoe to take on Ohio State. Ohio State -7.
So this is the one where I am taking a dog. I'm going to take Tennessee in this game. I don't know if you guys... I randomly have been thrown into a couple different algorithms of the college football playoff this week, and one of them is the Tennessee-Ohio State beef. And
over what?
Over kind of who's a better fan base and all this stuff.
Jesus, that's insufferable.
Ohio State has a bunch of empty seats, and all of these fans are trying to like migrate up from Tennessee to take over the stadium. And
Wow.
Yeah.
I have no idea if that's actually happening, but that's the way Twitter's making it look. And I don't know. There's just I love this is the game I'm most excited for.
Yep.
Yeah, it is the one that I can't wait to watch. I don't have a lot of confidence in Coach Day in this situation, and I think people are sleeping on Tennessee and how prepared they are for games like this playing in the SEC.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one thing about noise on the road, when you got 100,000 seat stadium yourself, noise ain't bothering you.
Facts.
You know, so because it's not like the Tennessee crowd just gets quiet for Tennessee. Like it is a loud stadium. I got to go with Tennessee, man, over Ohio State.
I'm going with Tennessee as well. Nico Iamaleava, I don't know why I just tried to
Iamaleava.
pronounce that guy's
Iamaleava.
last name, but he is one of my favorite young quarterbacks in college football. He's had an up and down season, but I think this is kind of the stage where the entire college football world is going to be like, he's really like that. And I think this is a good opportunity.
I like that,
I agree with you,
Scotty.
Unc. I don't really trust Ryan Day's situation coming off that Michigan. We talked a little bit about it yesterday.
I don't.
I think this very well could be his last game as a head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Give me Tennessee on the road.
And no, Coach Prime is not going to Ohio State. Y'all can stop those rumors and stop tagging me in it.
I'm taking Tennessee as well. Ohio State's season ended 3 weeks ago. Will Howard is potentially the worst quarterback in this bracket.
No,
No?
Madsen.
Chill on my boy Mad Dog.
And I just think that Tennessee is the more well-rounded team. They can run the ball. They've got pass rushers. They're tough on defense, and they have a quarterback.
If Ohio State were to lose, do you think that they should fire Ryan Day?
Absolutely. And not because of the loss to Tennessee, just to like, okay, we really want to fire you for the Michigan loss. And we couldn't do it at that moment
Because you were making the playoffs.
Yeah, we were in. But thank
Which
you.
Michigan loss?
Yeah, all of them. Cumulative-wise, all of them. But this most recent one for sure, because as you know, you guys, and I say you because you're a Michigan fan, we're totally reloading. And this was the one you had to win.
Exactly.
No excuses.
Yeah, none at all. And then the whole flag planting stuff, just the way it ended, I think they're looking for one more thing. And I would say that even if he beats them and it ain't a dominant victory, he's still gone. Once the season's over.
If Tennessee wins, they got to play at the flag.
Oh, I hope so.
Got to do it.
I hope so.
I got to do it.
Even if it's a little one that like comes in your hamburger, just go out there and just ding.
Like a little like lawn flag, you know, where they're like landscapers put 'em.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need that in my life.
And let me tell y'all this: Tennessee, not Nashville, y'all know what it is. Knoxville. Y'all stop thinking that it don't get cold in Knoxville. That is not the South.
Yeah.
Like that is. It ain't Ohio, but believe me, it gets cold in that part of Tennessee, up there in them down hills.
The way that everyone like acts like Colorado is this ice box made me think that like nowhere else got cold until I started traveling around the country. Like I've been freezing my ass off in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Bro, I freeze my ass off in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
Yes.
For real, spill. Like, for real.
Like Colorado isn't even cold, like on the grand scheme. Now that I've been to, and I've been freezing in Nashville too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went to Nashville for the senior. We were on our way to the Senior Bowl, and it was like February or whatever. It was cold as hell, man.
Yep.
Cold as hell in Mobile.
Yeah. Mobile is no joke.
No, it does
right
get
off
cold.
the ocean.
Yeah, it does get cold down there.
Everyone had me convinced that we were living in, you know, the Arctic up here.
I know.
No, I've now lived in both places. If anything, it's on the warm side here.
Yeah.
Coach Prime even says when people ask, like they come to town and we're sitting around, hey, well, you know, what's the weather? Where we going tomorrow? What we doing? Oh, don't worry about the weather, dog. Plus 15. And then, you know, you add 15 degrees, it feel like home. So if it's 30, it's 45. Trust me.
For real. For real.
All right, let's get to questions.
Let's get to questions.
Junior asks, when is Juju practicing? Do we know? He just landed literally hours ago.
Yeah.
He also has a broken hand.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know that Coach Prime has said he's going to run him with the scout teams when he gets here. I think that's going to be after AP and everybody checks out that hand.
Yeah.
I could see, and now the upside is we're not practicing tomorrow anyway. So it will be Sunday, his first opportunity. I frankly, other than for some, you know, camera action, just to get some press stuff out there that he's here, I don't see it happening.
He did do that like 3-4 weeks ago, though.
Okay, well, once AP and the crew check it out, if it's past the muster, I know he played with it. So
Yeah.
He didn't look like him, though.
No, of course not. David asks if there's going to be a DNVR tailgate in San Antonio. Yeah, we'll have something. We'll make an announcement.
And I'll just take you guys behind the curtain. We're working on it. The options that we have come across would be so expensive for us that we would have to make it so expensive for you that we're back to the drawing board. Because
wait to think of the fans, though.
What?
I said, wait to think of the fans.
Oh yeah, like I don't know. It's expensive to get to San Antonio right now. It's expensive to stay in San Antonio. It's expensive to go to the game. I didn't necessarily feel right about adding on another expensive tailgate ticket. So, like I said, we're back to the drawing board, trying to figure it out. At the very least, we'll have multiple meetups.
Yeah.
MH says, can the number 1 pick not show up? I think the NFL will have a lot to say about that.
No, they won't.
No, they won't.
They had a whole draft during COVID where no one was there. It's fine.
Yeah, that's not an issue.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can do whatever they want on draft day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a mandate. And if you want it to be a mandate, don't have it in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Amen.
Facts. Cold in August says, Unk, any word on any new uniforms for the bowl game?
I have not looked. I haven't gone in the equipment room to see what's going on down there. But when I know, I'll send it to these guys, and they'll let you know.
I have a good feeling about Coach Prime wanting to do something a little special for the bowl game.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be different and special. I just haven't eyeballed it.
Yeah.
Peter wants to know what private jet is Peggy going to be on?
I don't know, but it's not with the team. She's coming later in the week, and Coach Prime did tell me it's a nice jet for her.
I love that. And the team is getting a special jet.
Yeah, it's supposed to be getting wrapped right now with the colors and I believe on it. So even the outside is going to be a Colorado plane.
Damn,
Tough.
they could borrow the wrap from the bus.
Yeah,
Get our faces on there. If they
Jake's
want.
eyebrows on there.
Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the pregame show as well. Getting into super chats. Mama Tia, what is up? She says, good evening, Life Sports Coach Uncle Neely, DNVR, and BAM fans. It's okay to call Uncle Neely Coach. He is at another level. Congratulations, guys, on excellent content throughout the year. I'll take 2-12. Grown. NYC was fire, still crying. Players call you Coach.
I was going to say, not the first person to call him Coach.
Yeah. And back home, it's a lot because I coached high school ball. So
there you go.
It's a legit title, Scotty Deep Pockets.
Got you.
One of my
Shout out to Mama Tia, though. Big supporter.
One of my dreams, especially now that we have like such a big squad, I want us to coach a Pee Wee team.
I'm so down.
Can you imagine how electric that would be?
I coached Pee Wee my 4 years of high school, like the team that I played for in youth.
Bro,
It's pretty dope.
can we not make this happen?
I think it could happen.
I'm down, bro. Let me know when.
It would
I'll
be
tell y'all a
so
quick
sick.
coaching story, Pee Wee coaching story. Y'all know, heard of Mo Williams, play basketball as coach of Jackson State now.
Yeah.
Championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yep.
LeBron's
Yeah.
teammate. Well, back when he was a shorty, my right-hand man, when the pregame show was at Jack State, Chuck Bishop, was the Pee Wee League coach. And Mo was the quarterback. And one day Chuck Bishop pulled Mo to the side and said, man, you really should leave this basketball stuff alone and focus on football. Your future is in football. Because he would have to leave sometime to go play basketball.
Yeah.
And I was every time I would see Mo on TV winning or something, I'd be like, damn, I'm so glad he didn't listen to you. Put the world's worst advice.
Tried to send that man off.
Oh yeah. And Jacob says, and document it. Exactly. Like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Shout
we'll
out
have
J.
our
Cole.
own well-off behind the scenes
That'd be
videos
tough.
daily with the squad.
That'd be
My
crazy.
fear about this though is I feel like it would be like a money pit for me. Because I would just be like, we can't be wearing these jerseys, bro. I gotta get us some more fly jerseys. Like my star player needs new cleats. Like I would be worried about that.
Now, my team is going to be the Goonsville Goons.
Let's go.
That's all we're wearing.
Fire.
Jay Peasy says, do you guys think Dukes can be a recruiter for CU? Maybe, I guess. You wanted to be.
Yeah, I think he can be anything he wants to be. I don't know if he wants that, though.
Amen.
Pretty Mimi says, hey guys, may I get a birthday shout out, please? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Birthday
Mimi.
twins. Let's go.
Birthday on a Friday?
Me.
Who Whose birthday twins?
Yeah, birthday twins.
My birthday's tomorrow.
Oh.
HBD, bro.
Thanks, brother.
I was about to be pissed if you just let it slide all day. You're like, my birthday's
Like,
today.
my birthday today.
No, it's tomorrow.
I would have been mad at myself.
It's tomorrow. DITY Track says save time and money on no free ads. Thank you for
Not
the super
necessarily free, but no cheap ads. No cheap ads. Jake, what a day to have a birthday. First ever college football playoff day.
Yeah, man.
Football all day. Do you have any plans?
We have a show tomorrow morning and then watching CFPs.
That's all right, man.
Crazy.
That's why you picking all the dogs.
All right.
Yeah.
I love to see it.
Let me know what that birthday parlay looking like. I'm gonna play it.
Well, last night didn't go well for the Broncos, so I don't know.
I was so close, man, and then I went and chased my losses with a couple bets on the Nuggets and Avs.
Yeah.
Got right out of the hole, baby.
Wow.
Okay, go
Good for
crazy.
you.
I'm back. I'm
Good
back
for
and
you.
loaded up for the weekend.
We had speaking of gambling, we had a very good mandatory gambling meeting at the school yesterday. Very, very insightful.
Nice.
Just about all the do's and don'ts.
Yeah,
and
there was players and staff.
Mostly
do's and
don'ts.
Oh, yeah. The do's are kind of obvious. It's the don'ts that they had to underscore.
Yeah.
But excellent presenter, a guy who had been down there, done that. I wish I could remember his name and organization to shout him out, but ended up even doing like some Fed time behind his gambling woes. The players got engaged when he announced how much he had stolen and gone to prison for. They were like, okay, now listen. This guy's a real story. But it was a cool presentation, man. He travels around all the schools in NCAA, letting people know what the do's and don'ts are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a new world, which is how widespread it is now.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've already seen Dante Porter is going to jail for whatever happened with him and kind of
Crazy.
throwing lines and whatnot. So it's a crazy world.
It is.
Adrian's last minute super chat. Rocky Top, you're always.
I think it's just the lyrics
You're
to
always
Rocky
going to
Top.
be home. Yeah, that's the song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Squad.
Shout out Tennessee. Big Tennessee fan tomorrow. To answer Reef's question, absolutely, and to answer Larry's question, way under, way under.
What was the question? What was the over under?
There's Larry's over under.
You're going under 7 Kerr's lots?
I've put myself in timeout, bro.
Okay. I mean, if you're not doing anything, you're not going to have like a Subway meltdown on your couch.
I also don't feel great, so
I got to hit a story about this Subway meltdown.
no, please, bro.
It's not on the show. That's what.
I love Jake meltdown stories.
No, bro.
All right.
Scotty and I will be live in the morning tomorrow. Unc, it was great to have you back here, man.
Yeah, I loved it, man. I missed this place. Missed being in the studio. We're doing more of it in 2025. Looking forward to the road shows in San Antonio. Going to put Charles Barkley's theory to the test.
Oh, gosh. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go, Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.